Well, a California lawmaker has introduced a new bill that could limit some secondary work for law enforcement. The legislation would ban them from also working for the Department of Homeland Security's Immigration Enforcement Operations or any of its entities that assist ICE. Joining now is the bill's sponsor, Assemblyman Isaac Bryan of Los Angeles. Welcome to the Story Is for the very first time.
It's good to be with you.
How's the bill work?
It's pretty simple. Right now, there's a loophole in California law. It allows for local law enforcement to take on secondary employment with the Department of Homeland Security. We don't know how frequent this is happening. We need to collect that data. The bill requires that data be collected, but it also bans that process going forward. We know how ICE is recruiting, and we want to make sure that our law enforcement officers who sign up to protect and serve our communities don't moonlight terrorizing and kidnapping people from those very same communities.
I mean, but how is that legal? It's legal to work for ICE. It's these are folks that are, how is it legal?
It's same with any kind of employment contract. You work at CNN, you may not also moonlight at Fox, right? If you are serving our communities in a capacity at the local level, the state can prohibit you from serving at a federal level.
And this is not only just state police like the CHP, this is all local police. So LAPD, San Francisco PD, they all would be under this.
Absolutely, and very grateful to the city of Los Angeles, who has already begun to move this conversation forward. The city of San Francisco is going to join us in this fight next week. We expect the city of Oakland to join us. I think jurisdictions across California are going to stand up in this moment because I think folks want to be very clear about who our local law enforcement are and who these ICE agents are. And there's a distinguished difference, and we're seeing that play out across the country.
So ICE is enforcing federal immigration law. This is law that was passed by Congress. They're doing so. I mean, why is it the agent's fault? I mean, you could be mad at the people running the agency, but the agents themselves, aren't they just doing their jobs?
I think systems that are harmful to communities, that were designed to be harmful, that are then run by harmful decision makers can have lethal consequences. And that's what we're seeing in Minneapolis. We have an agent there who opened fire on a mother as she was driving away with her dog in the back seat. That agent needs to be held accountable. And the reason they are not being held accountable is because the entire institution needs to be held accountable.
So, but who is supposed to enforce immigration law? Like, for example, in this situation in Portland, the accusation, at least, is that these two individuals were tied to Tren de Aragua, a gang. Yeah. One of them accused of being involved in a prostitution ring. The other one accused of a DUI, who had a court order to leave the country. Who's supposed to enforce that? And what's wrong with enforcing that?
I think we need to be clear that our immigration laws are flawed in their inception. We have a broken process. That's a bipartisan problem. That's why the last time comprehensive immigration reform was put on the table, then former President Trump called in to hold Republicans back from joining Democrats and the Biden administration from passing sensible policy. We've got to change this from nuts to bolts. Congress needs to tackle this issue. We need sensible laws that are rooted in compassion, humanity, dignity, that preserve and protect life, not just here, but around the world. And that's not what we have right now.
We know that California last year passed a law to ban masks for people working for immigration services. That's being challenged in court. Mm-hmm. Do you think you have the votes to pass this bill?
I know we've got the votes in the legislature, and we don't mind taking fights to court. In fact, just today, we secured $10 billion in funding that the Trump administration was trying to withhold from California. We're going to fight legislatively, we're going to fight in the courts, and we're going to use our voice and our feet to get outside.
So just to be clear on that particular thing, we had Rob Bonta, the Attorney General, on last night talking about that. There was a temporary injunction granted to allow that, but that will proceed in the court, so we'll see what happens. But for now, at least a judge has granted what California wanted, which was to free up that $10 billion in funding. Isaac Bryan, thank you so much. Great to see you. Appreciate you sharing your perspective.
Thank you for
having me. I want to get a different perspective right now from Chris Clem, who is a retired chief patrol agent with U.S. Border Patrol. He joins us live right now. Your reaction to what you just heard?
Well, my reaction is it's just kind of crazy, right? That you have a member of Congress at the state level, or even some of the U.S. congressmen and women, calling ICE and immigration enforcement that they're terrorizing communities. I find it really interesting too that we had 4 years of practically open borders. I was a chief during that time and watched communities suffer because of literally 10 million people entering the country illegally and then being transported and released into communities across the country to include so many of these gangs and criminals that we're actually going after right now. So I think it was a little, premature for him to get out in front of this. I think we need to see stuff play out. But my gosh, we need men and women in elected positions to stand with law enforcement so they can get the job done, to protect communities, to root out the bad actors that are there, because they are there, and then cooperate with federal authorities. We wouldn't be in the situation today that's playing out right before our eyes if we had cooperation at all levels to enforce U.S. laws. Then we can get to nuts and bolts and fix an immigration system, but the security piece is critical.
When you see that new video that came out today out of Minneapolis, what do you see? And do you think that the agent followed protocol, and including the idea of capturing this with a cell phone in his hand and shooting in that particular instance?
The video I saw today and the angles I saw from yesterday, clearly he was struck by the driver in that vehicle, and that becomes the weapon, right? And, how he was videotaping and the circumstances that surrounded that. Look, the environment to operate has changed so dramatically over the last year that, we're having to take on different tactics. I wish we weren't having to talk about that. But you know what? That agent has a right to stand his ground and defend himself and protect his agents. That is a split second. We went from recording and conversation, some exchange of remarks, to he had to draw a weapon and take a life because she had hit him. He did not know what was going to happen, and he had to respond split second. I feel for him. I feel for the loss of life. No law enforcement agent wants to be in that situation. I can guarantee you that.
There's been so much said about Border Patrol and ICE. As somebody who's actually worked on that, what do you think is the biggest misconception that's out there?
The biggest misconception is the public, both media, individuals, elected officials, conflating immigration and border security and immigration enforcement. We're not after immigrants. We're after those people that have violated our immigration law. When you look just at Minnesota alone, over 133,000 illegal migrants are in Minnesota on the docket for ICE. 33,000 of those have orders of removal. They failed to depart the country after a judge ordered them. And 11,000 have criminal convictions in the United States. That's what we're targeting. That's what our federal agencies are targeting. That was a priority to this administration. I think what's happened is the conflating of immigrant populations versus the criminals and those that are violating the U.S. law. That's where we need to cooperate and work with the locals so we go after the ones that are violating U.S. law and stop getting the public riled up to talking about immigrants versus those that have violated the immigration laws.
Chris Clem, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. And while we've got Isaac Bryan here, I just want to ask you a follow-up based off of what he just said, which this is something I hear from a lot of folks in law enforcement. They say, work with us. Yeah. Open up the jails. Honor ICE detainers. Sure. Get the bad folks out behind bars. And because you're not doing that, because you're not cooperating with us, we have to go on the streets. We don't want to go on the streets. Help us help you. What do you say to that?
It's a disingenuous offer. In fact, federal law enforcement is not working with local law enforcement in Minneapolis right now. In the same way our previous guests talked about the bad apples, but won't recognize that this officer who discharged 3 bullets into the head of a mother driving away is a bad apple. There's no accountability and there is no collaboration because they believe that the laws, our immigration laws, are there to protect the institution, not the people of this country.
It's your perspective, obviously a different perspective from Chris, and we appreciate having a bunch of perspectives here, and viewers can make up their own mind. Thank you so much, and thanks again to Chris as well.